You obey. You keep showing up, and yet nothing seems to move. You did what you believed was right, but the silence feels heavier than disobedience ever did. You wonder if faith was supposed to feel this stuck. You pray, but the prayers feel like they hit a ceiling. You read scripture, but it feels distant, almost quiet in the wrong way. You are not rebelling, yet you feel no forward motion. That creates a tension you don't know how to name, because you were taught that obedience leads somewhere, and right now you feel parked in place. You ask yourself questions you rarely say out loud. Did I misunderstand God? Did I miss a step that matters more than I realized? You replay decisions that cost you comfort. You walked away from things that felt easier. You said no when yes would have brought relief. Still, nothing opened. No breakthrough. No reassurance. You tell yourself to be patient, but patience starts to feel like denial. You're not angry at God, but you're tired of pretending you're fine. You wonder how long obedience is supposed to last before it makes sense. Psalm 13:1. For a moment, that verse doesn't fix anything. It actually makes the question sharper, because even Scripture admits this feeling has a name. You start to realize the pain isn't only about being stuck. It's about feeling unseen while you're doing the right thing. It's about carrying faith without feedback. You expected resistance from the world. You didn't expect quiet from God. That's what makes this harder to endure. You think maybe the problem is you. Maybe your obedience is incomplete. Maybe God is waiting for something you haven't figured out yet. So you tighten your grip, you try harder, you examine yourself more closely than before. But striving doesn't remove the weight. It only adds pressure to an already tired soul. And the silence remains. Isaiah 50:10. That verse doesn't rush you into comfort. It places you in a darker space, not a brighter one. It acknowledges obedience in the absence of clarity. For a moment, there is relief in being understood. You are not the first to walk in darkness while still trusting. You are not strange for feeling this tension. But the relief doesn't last long, because now the question changes. If obedience can exist without progress, what is God actually doing? You notice how quickly you equate movement with approval. You assume stillness means delay or disfavor, but Scripture never makes that promise. You realize something unsettling. Obedience does not control outcomes. It only reveals allegiance. That thought brings both peace and discomfort. Peace because you were never meant to force results. Discomfort because you can't measure faithfulness by visible change. You want reassurance that this season will end soon. You want a timeline, even a hint. But what you receive instead is responsibility. James 1:4. That verse does not rush the process. It presses on your patience. It asks you to stay present longer than feels reasonable. You feel the tension rise again, because endurance sounds noble, but it feels costly, and you are already tired. You begin to see the deeper struggle. You are not just obeying God, you are obeying without leverage. You can't bargain your faith for relief. You can't speed things up by doing more. You can only remain. That feels risky. It exposes what you truly trust, not God's outcomes, but God's character. And that is where the shift begins, not in your circumstances, but in what you expect obedience to produce. You start to understand that feeling stuck is not the same as being stalled. Some seasons are not about movement, they're about alignment. Psalm 37:7. That verse does not promise speed. It invites stillness, a stillness that requires more faith than action ever did. You see it now. God is not withholding progress to punish you. He is removing your dependence on visible reward. This does not mean the waiting is easy. It means it is purposeful, and purpose changes how weight is carried. You are not stuck because you disobeyed. You are not forgotten because you are quiet. You are being held in a place where obedience becomes trust, not transaction. The clarity does not arrive with fireworks. It settles slowly, almost quietly. You realize obedience is not meant to make you feel successful. It is meant to make you faithful, and faithfulness often looks unremarkable from the outside. So the question changes one final time. Not when will this end, but will you remain obedient even if nothing changes yet? That is not a soft question. It does not remove responsibility. It places it firmly back in your hands. You obey not because it moves you forward. You obey because it keeps you anchored. And sometimes that is exactly where you are meant to stand.